recording, and then we can have a talk. I hope my PC doesn't like explode because the file is too big, but we'll do some post processing so the video doesn't take 3 days to upload if we do upload it. So hello everyone, welcome to I don't know which number of meeting we're at now. Probably maybe the 10th,
One of
something
them.
like that. Meeting. I should have like started counting them, but I didn't. So welcome. Uh, we're we're starting to have people coming. I hope more come. Else it's okay too. We'll be more comfy with less people and more space to talk.
Well, it's always good to catch up with you, Raph. So,
Thanks. So
and then we got
so
Gilgamesh here as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
welcome.
I guess. Yeah.
Um, Sometimes with these meetings, I like to have a map on Google Map and have like pins of where everyone is on the map to just have a sense of the international nature of the meetings. Maybe later on to one. I I don't think it will show up on the recording though. I'll try to do something. But yeah, so welcome everyone. The goal here is usually to when we're more active on the research, it's more to like share where the research is. For now, it's a little bit more slow because I think it's the summer. People don't really do research in the summer. The students are out having barbecues and other people are doing kayak. So no research on the summer, but let's just like talk like I said earlier, maybe having a since some people joined on the server recently, maybe having a little bit of a summary of where things are going. I saw that Paddy recently opened a new work log channel where he logs his work, which is like a summary, but maybe having like a tour of everything that's going on the server and on the site, what's coming, and let's see where like I remember working on some stuff also before like summer came, like about the whole LUT lookup table and making a big database to query and maybe put it putting that online and contributing that to people so they can also take a look at it. So that's something probably I'll touch on later too. So
It does
how does that
feel
sound?
funny that we solved the game and then everyone's like, "Cool, okay, done." We don't need to actually get any insights from this.
Yeah, well, that's not my reaction, to be honest. My reaction was like, okay, now that the doors are open,
Mm.
and yeah, there's someone in the. Let me see who that was. They're pretty active. I just don't remember their. Oh, it's Ice Warm that used to. We used to talk a little bit about this, and I sent them my database that I've made, and I
Oh yeah.
didn't really hear from them anymore. But I hope they would be here today to like have a discussion about this. But yeah, I think it's the first person to actually like pull my stuff and try it out. Probably if they did. So I think it's interesting to have a discussion about that. I'd love to. So
Yeah, I wonder if there's anyone other than you and I that have downloaded the tables to
yeah, from
mess
the
around with as well.
from the Hugging Face. Maybe it's a good place to
Hugging
start
Face, yeah.
the summary of things that
Oh
happened
yeah.
recently. I can open it and put it on my over my Discord while we talk about it. So it's gonna be the unofficial way to record. We'll work on a better way next time. So Hugging Face. Do you want to talk about it a little bit,
Sure.
Patty?
Um, so yeah, I guess what we solved the game um, using like a reinforcement learning value iteration algorithm, which was a pretty exciting couple of weeks when we're like, hey, this might work, and then kind of got it to work all in a pretty short space of time. And then what we've solved like four different rule sets. So like that um ASEB rule set, which is probably the a bad name for that rule set because I told it to what Irving Finkel and he was like, no, you can't call it that. It's not the Egyptian game. It's the game of 20 squares. Um,
Oh no.
which was funny. And then, but then, yeah, Blitz, Finkel, and Masters. So we've solved each of those now as well. But we could solve kind of a whole range of rule sets now using that. But it's just those are the kind of four that were deemed uh, kind of applicable to people. So we've
Yep.
kind of released those openly on Hugging Face, and then well, we
Yep.
have the Royal Java um, library that can train those and then also read them, and then also Raph, you made the Royal Python version of that, so you could read those and play perfect games in Python as well. So
Yep.
that
I'll
was
just put
pretty
it out
cool.
there that the Python version just supports Finkel rules for now. It's the easiest for me to wrap my head around, and I didn't have the necessary time for the other ones, but probably soon we'll try to generalize this.
Yeah, try and what line them up a bit more.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I guess Finkel's the one that most people would be interested in because it's the most popular set of
Yep.
rules. So it kind of makes sense.
I'll admit that I
Um,
don't know any more rule sets than Finkel for now, so
oh
I'll
yeah,
get onto that soon to like just like take a time and learn the other rules. I saw that people really like the Masters one, so I'll it's interesting. And my
yeah.
mother, like, I talked to her about this, and she was like, "Oh, that's interesting. I want to try all the rule sets." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll learn them and I'll teach you."
It is funny seeing the sort of factions of different people develop
Mm.
of like it almost seems like the people who are really serious about it have gone to masters and then a few people who maybe aren't as patient went to blitz and then Finkel remains the majority. But it's
Okay, so
cool.
yeah, you released the so I'm showing this as we're talking. So you've released that on a game face, so it's like free
Mhm.
to use. Maybe a technical note would be that the format of file is a little custom, so you need to
Mm.
either talk to us to to get a glimpse of what it is, or be very good at guessing. So or use the implementation in Python, which is it's open source there, but it's not really linked together. Maybe it's a note for you, but maybe adding that to. Oh no, I think yeah, right. Okay, you put the links in the description of the model, so it's good. So there's a link there. So nothing. I said nothing. So yeah, there are
Well, we
implementations in
don't.
both languages. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the difficult part about it is we don't really have any documentation anywhere on,
Right.
or is it maybe not very obvious
I was waiting on like finishing what I was
how to use
doing
it.
before like releasing and maybe putting some words around it. But yeah. So if someone like
Yeah.
Iceworm that came in wanted wanted to know more, they couldn't. So that's a problem.
Yeah, I guess I've just been focusing on how do I kind of use that for the game analysis, which has been kind of pretty fun to work on as well. Um, which
You want to
I
talk
thought that
about
was
it?
sure. I guess I can share my screen. Does that work?
Sure, yeah, that will work. It will work better than
Um,
if I share mine for
let's-
the recording.
Let me
Which
give that a
add
go.
the recorder here so people are not confused.
Oh, and then we go the infinite screen.
Yeah,
Um,
classic.
so yeah, I guess, well, this is the,
Nice.
can you see that?
Yep, sneak
Um,
peek preview.
yeah, so this is the new kind of game review that I've been working on. Um, and I guess the kind of idea with this was rather than sort of trying to make a more, I guess, kind of the most straightforward thing would be just like you input a position and then it could tell you like the kind of your winning chances from that position and the best move, which I think would be really useful. But I kind of was trying to make something which was more a trying to teach people how to play the game rather than just like a tool for people who are pretty like I feel like a database thing would be really useful for people who are really good at the game, but maybe uh a bit intimidating otherwise.
Yeah, no,
So
it's not
then
the best. It's not the best principle. I think it's more for the researchers that want to gain insight and elsewhere. Like they want to try seeing if let's say all the times that in all cases when you come out of the of your safe zone, is this a good move compared to this one? So it's more in
mm,
a global sense on a research scale. My intent was more this way. It wasn't to give publicly to people so they can learn about the game. It's more people that are versed in it.
yeah, so I guess my idea with this was trying to make something that is more trying to point out areas where someone could improve rather
Right.
than um anything else. And so my like approach for that, I mean, first of all, there was just kind of building the sort of UI to go through games.
That's
Um,
so cool.
yeah, it's I really find it fun. I'd always just like move like through games and stuff
Yeah.
instead of working. Um,
And
and then providing sort of a summary of like here, this move is best. So it's like, yeah, you played well, sort of thing, but then pointing out like this move is a mistake. And it's
I
not
can see
quite there
why.
yet, but yeah, so it's kind of like I'm kind of trying to think of how you can kind of help teach people the reasons for why a move would be better or not. Um, and so my approach for that, well, first of all, there's the luck part of it, which I thought was interesting, which is just like it like can tell you how good your rolls were. So it's like um
Nice.
which is
Yep.
pretty simple. And then the moves I was planning to do something kind of similar to that. And it's just sort of like a good old fashioned AI sort of approach where it's like we have the perfect bot that gives us like here is exactly the best move or the second best move or something like that. And like here's the percentage winning chance after you play each move. Um, and so you can use that to kind of say, well, here's the move you picked, and here's the move that would have been best, and like here's how much winning percentage you lost or could have gained. So I guess in this case, it's like you introduced a piece um, to C2, but playing like the middle piece to the rosette would have given you an extra percentage chance to win, um, which I think is helpful just on its own. But what I'm kind of working on is making it so that you can get like a text description of uh, why moving that central piece would be better. And the kind of approach I'm kind of been working on for that is just you know that that move is better than the one you chose. So then just kind of look for reasons why that could be the case, just
Mm.
using like a set of hard rules and stuff. So maybe like searching a few moves ahead, looking for different, like just kind of manually creating a lot of rules to be like uh different pattern matching sort of checks. So then you could say like your this move uh like you missed
Yeah,
an
right.
opportunity to land on a rosette or something like that. So
And
it
you
can be like,
hope,
oh, that's why that move would have been better.
okay, so you hope that those two will be synchronized, like the explanation
Yeah.
is synced with the reality.
And I think you could probably it would probably be useful for like most of the worst moves, but sometimes you have moves which are like 0.1% different. It's like you would have gained a tiny advantage by playing a different move.
Yeah,
And I think in those
yeah, you're
cases,
right.
you might just be like, you might just be a case of like it might tell you a reason that is like not the exact reason why, like maybe it's more complicated or something, but
Yeah, maybe there's the
kind of trying to
concept
give
of
people the right intuition.
exactly like there maybe the concept of significant significantly better move versus like yeah, it's the best, but no, it's not significant. So probably picking any
Mm.
other one would have been fair enough, you know.
Yeah, so I guess that's why like I've tried to do like so where it's like this move is
Exactly.
excellent, basically being like it's only a tiny bit of a difference if you changed moves. Um or like it's good where it's like there would be you would get like a bigger advantage
Okay. So that
for
seems to come
changing.
from the chess world, the testing and
Yeah.
the blunder and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Very
Can you
inspired by the chess world.
can you explain
Definitely.
someone like me that doesn't like I played chess with my mom before, but not online, so I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know about those. Maybe someone else doesn't,
Uh
so would be interesting to
I
know.
guess yeah, so I guess the way that for example chess.com works in this regard is they do a similar thing where they kind of categorize the moves that you've made and then you can go back through and say after a game it can just show you like the key moves. Because I guess often in chess, even more so than the Royal Game of the game can be decided by like a few blunders, um, if you're bad, or one slight mistake if you're really good. And so it can then like just take you to the specific like big moves where you like could have played better, um, which I think is it's really quite effective. Um, as a teaching thing. So if I look at the chess.com analysis, it would be pretty similar.
Yep.
So they do like this sort of thing where most of the moves they don't highlight, but every now and then they'll be like, here's one where you played particularly well or you could have maybe improved. Um,
So what do you consider a blunder and what's testing?
oh, testing is just like it's just broken for this move. It's not there yet.
Okay.
But the idea is that um, like this is where it will, uh, uh, this is where I would put the sort of it's almost like I don't know what the best way to put it, sort of like looking for confirmation over why this move is better explanation
Okay, so that would be the
than
place
the
where
move you
the
chose.
explanation appears.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
And
and so like for the dice rolls, I think there's like uh there's some a big nested thing of if statements that is just like all of these. different factors, and I imagine doing something kind of similar, but just even more stuff, even more cases. So it's just
I
going to be
see.
a lot of manual work to fill it all out.
And what do you consider excellent, forced, best, and miss and blunder?
So that's just based on a threshold over
Okay.
like um how close the move is to the best move. So excellent is within currently it's within 0.15% of the best move. Um, so it's like if you made an excellent move, it's like your winning chances are really similar to if you picked the best move. So it's like not as big of a deal. Whereas then miss is above a 1% difference. So it's saying like that's the threshold for that. And then blunder was I've I think currently it's different, but I was looking at changing it to be 3% was what I was planning to move it to because right now there's a lot of blunders. Um,
So, yeah, and I bet that blunder you'd want to see maybe a handful in a game, not
mm,
so many. Okay, and
yeah,
like
exactly.
I see, the best was plus 3.2, but we don't really see the actual, like this move was plus what or minus what. We can deduce it from the move before
Yeah.
55
So
54.9.
yeah, you could say I guess the I was try to make it focus more on kind of the difference between your choices that you had available rather than because so like here you lose
Yeah,
0.9%,
point
so
0.9.
then you could kind of you could figure out that you would gain what like 2.3% um if you played uh so what would that be? Just the capture here. But um the difference from the previous move is also just largely dependent on your luck in rolling the dice. And I guess as like the focus of this is trying to be like helping people to play better,
Yeah,
then kind of that luck part of it is kind of interesting. So I tried to include it with like the rolls. Um, but the exact chance that like you got relative to the other rolls you could have got, I feel like is not as important as like here's you could have had an extra 3% chance of winning, but you kind of played the wrong move, sort of thing,
yeah, I
if that
like that.
makes sense.
Yeah, it's very good
But it
work, and
does, thanks. But it is a bit limited. So I feel like it doesn't kind of rule out more kind of technical um, analysis sort of UIs where you could see like each move that was possible and their precise chances
yeah,
of winning and all the different roles, which I think would be interesting um to look at. But I guess it's kind of just trying to streamline this for the purpose of uh, kind of aiming at a more casual look at the game rather than being so technical.
yeah, it could be more complex and maybe more complete, but more confusing at the same time, probably. So you
Yeah,
want to
exactly.
appeal to the larger mass of people. So nice. Thanks for the demo. It's very very nice.
In there. And I guess we've got your UI that you made that you can use to do the more technical side of things already.
Yeah, yeah. I could show that maybe. Um, do I have it somewhere? The URL is always a little.
Yeah, I like the .whnet.ca one. That's easier.
Yeah, it's clearly easier. You're right. Okay, so let me show it. I'll try to share with you guys also. It'll be application level though, because I want to show not the screen, but this. It will be a little warped. This one is a little more technical and deep dive, but as I explained earlier, my goal was more to appeal towards the researchers and the people that like know more and want to deep dive in it. I think your tool, Patty, is way better in general because everyone can just like dive in and see where their skills are maybe lacking or where they thought they were going doing a good move and didn't
They
really do a
can they
good
can
move.
go after a game and then just like, oh no,
Oh no, I
what
should have
did I
done that.
do?
Yeah, and probably like
Yeah.
most of the time people know like, oh no, this is yeah, this was a mistake, but maybe not. And when they figure it out, everyone will beat pandas.
And
And
everyone will beat Arthur.
exactly.
We'll
So
build an army.
yeah, uh, and then you do the next research meeting will be a four player or three versus one against
Yeah.
Arthur. He'll be still be better than everyone. Um, Also, Gilgamesh, do you have like any questions, any comments on any of this?
Well, I'm actually waiting for the analysis. Yeah, I saw in the log and I was really excited. And I'm thinking actually a little bit more like modifying the game. I'm thinking like, do you have any project or like did you try before? I mean
Uh,
like adding one
I
more
mean like
row
changing the
to
rules.
top and bottom. No, 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 like not rule, but like the board or such thing. For example, like adding one more row to the top and the bottom. So and
Oh.
numbering the dice up to five. So I'm wondering how it will change the game because like when you hire the dice five, you'll still be able to go to the top and go back to bottom. And because I'm thinking
Hmm.
like this is the best, probably like I'm just how to say that like speculating, but probably in the 4,000 years, like 6,000 years ago, people tried this. And probably they
Yeah.
just made manage with four, but I'm wondering if you have any idea about it.
Um, well, I think it's well, the interesting thing to me is like if you look at, I think most games that were found for the Royal Game of were actually a different board and used three dice instead of four. Um, so I think
Yeah,
the Finkel rule set kind of became popular because of like Irving Finkel's
Yeah.
kind of going on TV shows and YouTube and all of this sort of stuff. Um, but we have actually kind of discussed changing the dice to use three dice for the Masters rule set instead. But I've never really thought about increasing the number of dice or the size of the
Uh-huh.
board, which seems, I guess, increasing the size of the board is a pretty big change just because of all of the examples
yeah.
of boards that we have.
It's the
But
game
the
of 20
number of
squares.
dice is
So changing the
you
board
kind
with
of
the
yeah.
you change that a little
But
bit.
the using more dice just seems like something that people definitely would have experimented with at least.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, actually, I actually, like I told you, I had also just on paper we played with some like sugars and such with my
Yeah.
niece, and I just simulated a Python code for the dice. So next time I'll also keep you updated about my like 5 dice, and I'll let you know how
Yeah,
it
see how
goes.
it plays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
It'd be
done the
cool.
same as actually Gilgamesh. Before having an actual board, I was doing it on paper with like I think coins or some things lying around for the
yeah.
pounds
We,
and
we were
yeah,
playing with
I coded the
some
dice.
like yeah, some sweet stuff, and if you just manage to pull it out, you can eat it. So it's funnier.
Oh,
Yeah, that's, need like I saw someone talking about getting the mini cookies to play with.
ooh.
Um, so then like at the end of the board, mini
Yeah.
What
cookies.
I like with mine is that I have a mason jar, so it's a glass jar, and when I put like when I bring my pound out, I put it in there. But the sound it makes, like the
Mm.
wood on glass, is very. It's like a wind sound, like a tiddling, So it's very interesting to
Very
put it in there.
satisfying.
Yeah, it's like not as good, but better for the teeth as eating sugar. You know.
Yeah,
Uh,
true. I think the Société Internationale de they when I went to one of their tournaments, they had like medal cups like Go, and then they had like the Go sort of uh it seems like that's kind of what they've been inspired by. It's similar, like throwing it in the metal sort of thing at the end is so satisfying compared to like just putting them in a different pile.
exactly.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I guess what other people, it seems like there's quite a few people with their own pet rules for the Royal Game of like I know Michael was working on a compact board for the Royal Game of which is just like a fold up one. So it was like really small, like a little travel board. And he likes the rule where like if you get a piece on all five rosettes, then the rosettes become no longer safe. So then, or like if all five rosettes are occupied, which just
Yeah.
apparently leads to some
Mhm.
funny
Ah.
situations where it's like you can get a rosette, and if it's the last one, then you can take someone else's rosette.
Ah, yeah. Like their power depletes, like it's too much.
Yeah,
Ah, that's cool. Yeah.
um,
And I've always
it was fun.
wondered like and everyone else always wondered like what are the other like the other cells on the board what they're doing? Like why are there like motifs, textures on them and they don't do
Mm.
anything? So that's I'm sure like
Yeah.
there's no central rule play or and I would
Mm.
like to like learn cuneiform, like the I don't know if it's the right word in French. It's cuneiform, but in English, I don't know the word. But
I think it is as well.
yeah, so the original text, I would like to learn to like decode it and just reread the original because I'm not really happy with the invented fake one. So
Mm.
yeah, I would
Well,
like to
yeah, because
learn that.
what the rules that Irving Finkel says are not supposed to be a reconstruction of the rules that were played.
Yeah,
They're just
exactly.
like rules that Irving Finkel thought were fun. So they
Which is
became the rules.
fun, fair, but I would love to. Like, we have the tablet and I saw it with my eyes, but I want to read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to learn to read cuneiform at one point, and
Hi.
I got to the point of just like I can recognize the symbols on the paper, but then it's like you also have to learn the languages that they use. And I was like, okay,
Exactly,
I'm
that's
out.
the, yeah, that's the harder part. But probably if you can read the characters, then you can put it somewhere and then someone else can help you with the other part. But only reading
Yeah,
it
I think they have
is a challenge.
massive dictionaries and this sort of thing, but it's a lot of work.
So, hello Arthur,
Hey,
if you just joined.
Arthur.
Just a disclaimer, this is recorded, so just so you know. We can see your messages up there, so it's cool. I'm trying for the first time to record, so people will have a video to watch later. Is there an official like YouTube channel we could upload this to or something?
We could make one,
Okay, fair,
but I don't, not
fair.
at the moment.
All right.
Um,
Because I was wondering where to put it, but we'll talk about this later. It's a detail, technical detail.
Technical. Yeah. So I guess what else were we discussing?
I was
This week?
discussing about my tool that I did. I thought it was interesting. What Gilgamesh brought up, but it's interesting because he's trying like with 5 dice. But as you said, Michael said he was going to attend today, so I was eager to hear about him and his research about the 3 dice conspiracy or the 4 dice conspiracy, where the 3 dice would be the actual ones. Um, let's share my stuff around. Sorry. And yeah, so that's the tool I've worked on. It's a again you'll see a pattern with the things I do. I do them quick and they're cheap. So it's no skins, just a little web page. It's available for everyone. It's a tool to help you dig into the lookup table. So actually, what's behind the scenes in the Pandas bot on the Royal Game Over website that Patty is working on, and it uses exactly the same metrics. So the percentages would be at least from what I know, Patty, you can confirm, but it should be the same percentages as
Mhm.
what Patty uses, and
Yeah, it
this is
should be
like
the same.
an ASCII character representation of the board. So this is you should see a board, else you're not a cyborg enough. You need an update to your eyes. So
I think we should update the website to use this representation. I think it's would be
yeah,
clearer for everyone involved.
I think it would be a nice Easter egg. So like I don't know,
Yeah,
you write something on the keyboard and then clock this is the skin that comes up. So
that would be
take
fun.
notes. Um, So yeah, this is a light player, and D would be the dark. If I play a piece, it changes. So this is the current board state. This is where you know, your history. If you want to go back, you can just go back to the previous state if you want, and then you can just play the game here, and then I'll just like random click everywhere just so you can have an idea of here. You can see that having a dice of 1 in this scenario, being the player dark, you have 2 options. You can introduce a piece or move a piece, and then you can see what's the. It's very crude, very raw. You can see, but you see everything. Like Paddy said earlier, he doesn't want to reproduce this, and it's fine. This is very. You actually explore deeply and raw every game state possible. So you can go through every possible game state. It's a couple million, so I hope you have a big cup of tea before you try this. But yeah, you can reproduce every game and see what is the probability of winning for each. And this is what I was trying to do as a data set or database. So you can actually like query it, because the original format that we showed earlier is it's way more crude than this. There's no actual board state. It's an encoding with like numbers. It's weird. So I tried to make it more human readable. Even if it's not that much human readable, at least there's like the board somewhere in like visual form, so you can actually like maybe query those if you want, instead of a little encoded thing. So yeah, that's the it's public. It's a public tool. If you want the link, I can put it in the chat. If you like, if you have questions, you can ask them, and if you have any update you want to make, you can either write them to me or actually help me and like do code with me, and because it's open source, I just didn't put the link anywhere here, but I could like right there on the top right, and you can click and you can see the source of the website. Yeah, right. Arthur wants it in the actual website. Well, it's public, so you can actually use it, Arthur, if you want. You can. It's hard though. I tried to play a game and follow with this, and I couldn't. So it's not a very useful tool now, but it's interesting to see. And I remember spending some time trying to play the perfect game. So it was great. Like trying to follow the most game win probability per move for a specific player. So yeah. So that's the tool. I'm
And play the panda in real life.
I'm scared of wall of text. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Maybe we can train an AI to like render this better. I don't know.
Can
So
get ChatGPT to write a style sheet for it.
yeah, probably, maybe. I don't know if it will understand. I think ChatGPT doesn't know much about the Royal Game of Ur, so it doesn't know much about the game.
Yeah, no, I try and ask each new AI about the Royal Game of Ur. They're slowly getting better, it seems, but they still don't know the shape of the board.
Yeah,
Not
I'm wondering. I'm
not good
wondering
at it.
about the. There's one called Perplexity, which is linked to an index, but essentially probably Google, or
Mm.
Bing. So maybe about this, he'd be better. It'd be better.
Yeah, might be able to get sources.
Let's see. What's the shape of the Royal Game of Ur board? Let's see there. It can find images. Okay. It knows.
Oh yeah.
It's in French. Sadly, I'll because
Yeah.
it's my way. It's my
Baguette.
baguette. It's my account. Weirdly, it says English, but it's not in English at all. So it's weird. Let's see if I try here. Maybe because I have the widget. No, it's still in French. I'll tell you hit to answer me in English. Damn,
Oh, there we
there's
go.
like the little. Okay. It seems quite accurate, this one, because it's
It's
based
done
on
better.
actual links. But what's sad is that it doesn't really point to your website. Sadly, Paddy.
I can see that image of the sort of resin board on the right is made by um that was made by Victor, which is a really cool board. But that one we have on Royal Air, so maybe it got it from there.
This one,
Yeah, yeah.
nice.
Yeah, there you go. Got something.
Well, I think it nailed it. I think it nailed it. It's different from the other LLMs. I really like it.
It's done a much better job than what I've seen others do. Yeah, pretty impressive.
Yeah, and
Gonna
it's
be
got
gonna
lots
be a
of.
crazy decade.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah.
right. Some higher level people are seeing that within probably 5 years, some kind of AGI equivalent will be around. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
we'll
see
see.
how correct the optimism in Silicon Valley is about it.
Yeah, Moore's law and stuff like that, how it applies. I've
Yeah.
seen recently a paper. Maybe we're like way off track here, but I've seen recently a paper about novel discoveries in chemistry from LLMs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's happening.
That's
They
pretty
gave
interesting because like I don't think I've found any sort of novel discoveries. I don't think I've
yeah.
seen anything like that from LLMs.
I'll try to find it. It's a very
Yeah.
interesting paper. I'm I'm subscribed to the Nature. How is it? It's Nature Machine Intelligence. It's a paid paper magazine from Nature. It's the big
Right.
player. And once
Nature's huge, right?
it's the I think it's the top of the
Huge
line,
deal.
and I'm just like eager to get a paid subscription to read the actual papers, but some of those are like public-ish, so you can see like the abstract
Mm.
and stuff like that, and they shared this with the world, and I think it's very interesting.
Yeah,
Uh,
the what one of the coolest things I saw was when I can't remember who it was, someone used reinforcement learning to find new matrix multiplication algorithms, more efficient ones. Um, which kind of made me think like reinforcement learning has been used multiple times to generate like new knowledge, whereas I haven't really seen LLMs being used for the same. It seems mostly just like a kind of pattern generation in text and
yeah,
images
well,
and
they
everything.
what I remember is that they gave it some tools. So that was the key finding, that it needed some like basic tooling to be
Mm.
able to like explain what it wants to do, and then try to use those tools, and then it couldn't it could it would interpret, it would do, I don't remember the word, but it would play with those tools and then have feedback from those tools, and then it would like, it
Mm.
took some time and some effort, but it did come up with new things, and it wasn't
That's
like
pretty
anything
pretty
weird.
awesome.
Yeah,
It's more
so
like an
that's
agent sort of thing,
yeah, yeah, it's a tool user agent,
whatever
thinker-ish.
term you
It's
want to
yeah,
use.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
it's pretty
So I'm
cool.
trying to find it while we're talking, maybe, but we can talk about something else, and I can share
Sure.
in
Um,
the
maybe I
chat later.
can show we got Arthur. I thought Arthur, maybe you'll have questions about the I could go through the analysis sort of thing again if you
Yeah,
were
sure, that's
interested.
cool.
Um, because yeah, I guess the kind of what the goal of it was uh is kind of like to point out where you could have improved and kind of help people to play better, I guess is the goal. So it's kind of aimed more as a teaching tool rather than like a technical information heavy tool was the idea. And so we've got the like it will tell you how good your roll was, which might be fun just to point out that see it was luck that the reason that I that I lost and not playing badly. But then also now we've got what the best move in there and like how much of an advantage you would have gained by playing that move. So like for this move, it's like you played like moving your piece into the middle, but if you had introduced a new piece, then your chance of winning would be 1.7% higher, sort of thing. And so then the idea is then to also have uh sort of explanation or try to make an explanation for why this move is like worse than other moves. So it could like saying things like this you missed an opportunity to introduce a piece, or this piece is now more vulnerable because you moved it into the war zone, or something like that.
I
And trying to do that sort of side of things instead of instead of kind of just showing you here's a list of moves and how good they are, and kind of try and provide a bit more information about it, I guess, was the idea.
I found the yeah I found the infamous paper.
Oh, cool, we found it. So I guess the idea of how it would work is maybe for some moves it would be really difficult to actually tell you the precise reason. So like this move, so the idea of like we categorize the moves, I guess. So like an excellent move is when it's like point 0.15% that you could have gained or less. And so like in this sort of case, it's like you could have also played this move, but um playing b4 to b5 would have been like ever so slightly better, but it's like less than 0.05% improvement. So I think in that sort of case, it would be hard to come up with an actual reason why, because it's so slim. But for some moves like this move, it's pretty clear where it's like you could have captured their piece, but you like missed that opportunity. And so I guess the goal is to more aim towards these sorts of moves, to just kind of pattern, just to kind of look for kind of patterns like that when there's like a significant difference. So then you can be like, you should have you should have captured their piece sort of thing instead. Um, and kind of just building in a lot of rules like that, which would probably just be a lot of manual like setting of rules. Um, just looking at
Uh,
lots of different positions.
I wonder
Um,
how like precise and I'm wondering if your manual rules like that would be like a 80-20, like a Pareto rule of you like you cover most cases that are obvious, but some like 20% are left weird where you think like the machine thinks it's that, but it's not. Some weird.
yeah, yeah. Well, thanks, Arthur, for the compliment. But yeah, I think there will be some cases like that. I think the same is kind of true in the chess analysis stuff as well, where it's like you're kind of aiming more for the more obvious cases, whereas the more it might not be able to actually articulate very well in the more kind of fine cases. And so, yeah, kind of going for the 80-20 rule of like trying to kind of give people an intuition over what's better or not about different moves.
My my idea here is if your explanations are good, why is it not the AI? Like why is the AI not using those explanations as a basis to play and be good, you know? Some equivalent to that.
Yeah, so I guess the idea is just to pick out the cases where a simpler AI could easily pick out why one move is better than the other.
Yeah.
But when you can't figure out why one move is better than the other, then just like kind of not giving an explanation
Yeah. I'm
because it
I'm
would be
I'm
probably wrong.
I'm visualizing something here where like instead of having the lookup table be static, well, that's like data wise impossible, but it's in my head, so it works. Um, Having some kind of tree of all the seeing where this like where most of this percentage of win comes from in the tree of where it started from where it's
Yeah,
at. So
that would be
and
that would be pretty
comparing those
wild.
branches would give you probably where the why of this where's this like the actual why, because you could have this data if we had like infinite storage and infinite everything. You could have like everything
Yeah,
there
you
and
could.
then could point out where like
You could be like, this move is influenced uh
yeah
0.3% from this move and in the future. You're like point
Yeah, like
like
the
from all these different moves.
Doctor Strange in the Marvel, like he sees like all possible futures. He sees
Yeah, yeah,
everything. He sees all, and then he picks
yeah.
the right thing to do. Something like that.
Yeah. So I guess the idea is you do look forwards to all the different routes that the game could take in the future. Um, but then you're kind of looking back for confirmation. You're using that to look for confirmation over why a move would be obviously better. And
Right, exactly. Okay.
but like if that makes sense, Arthur. Yeah. 'Cause it's kind of like uh I'm trying to make this sort of confirmation bias machine. It's like we know this move is better. Now let's try and come up with a reason as to why. Um, and then it's
Yeah,
just sort of like saying, trying to look at those and understand like how good are they or not, and then put some cutoff to a point where it's like if the difference between the moves is too small and we can't figure out an obvious best move, um,
we cannot explain. You
then
just
we
can't
just
explain.
don't try.
Yeah, and what Archer says is very interesting too, because there's the context in which the moves are applied or exist. So
Yeah.
it's not just like here's all the moves you can make. It's like every move, if it is influenced, every possible
Yeah, it's
move is
gonna
influenced by that.
I think it's gonna be something to be kind of improved over time. Um,
Yeah, and tracking that, I think, is the why we do the well, for me it's why I do those research meetings in the first place. So it's to try and find ways to dig more into the edge cases of trying to explain the moves and trying to come
yeah.
up with human interpretable ways to tell you
Yeah.
how to play better from data, if at all possible.
Yeah,
Um,
and try and gradually move that barrier forwards over being able to explain more and more moves
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, actually, regarding to that, like, what would happen if you have deterministically selected dice? I mean, like, determine all the dice for the player and let it play. And like, for example, for me, I'm learning the game and just in the background keep all the dice determined and let me play, and I can move the game like reverse it, and I can play it. I can change the move, but the AI also, like, or the opponent is also be able to change it. So maybe I will learn better
Yeah, I think there's
if I undo
definitely
and
like a
redo.
room
Yeah,
for that. Definitely room for that sort of like a kind of training mode, I guess. Rather than just being told what the best move is,
yeah,
like
yeah,
what you can pick your own moves and then like see see I don't know whether like in real time or not, or like whenever you choose, you can get feedback on like how you've been playing and then be like, oh, I should have played differently and go back and play and get start from there again. Is that the sort of thing you mean?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, only for
Yeah.
subscribers. Gotta pay those hosting fees.
yeah, sure. Only pounds, only dice. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. We need to gradually make it so a pay to win experience, just like everyone wants. Only dice. Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of hoping the game gets bigger and then I can do the opposite and make it more and more free.
I'd hope so. I've seen someone in the Discord have a criticism on of
Early dice.
early dice of why that's it's not open source anymore. So yeah, we can feel
Oh
the
yeah,
people wanting this to be very free.
yeah. Need to make money.
XQC is
Someone
from Quebec. It's from here.
is he?
Yeah, I think
Well,
Arthur knew what he was saying. Yeah, well, QC
yeah.
means Quebec, so
Well,
it's
we just need what Raph, you can go knock on his door and get him to play the game. That would work,
sure.
right?
Just tell me where he is. I don't know exactly. He's in
Yeah.
Montreal, I think, but yeah, I'm not too close to Montreal, but yeah, it's from Quebec. It's a
There
big
you go.
streamer online.
That's cool. I
I
didn't
love
know
it.
that. I can now
Yeah.
that you mention it, I can kind of see the accent similarities between you and
I
him.
doubt he has like a French accent. I think he's mainly English speaking. I didn't
I think I've only
recognize
ever
the
heard him
accent.
speak in English, but like I don't know, maybe this is another thing of confirmation bias. Looking back, I can I can
Yeah,
kind of see it.
Arthur, I know he speaks French because he's forced to in Quebec, but I think he seems to be speaking mainly in English. But yeah, probably it's just the public facing side of it that forces that to be the case. Um, and he speaks very weirdly in English. I think he mumbles the words and stuff. Very interesting person. So
Very
what's in the
popular.
works now? So you shown us the Paddy what's in the works. Maybe I can talk. Sadly, I wanted to like boot on Linux because all my work on the data set is on Linux. Sadly, I dual boot and I'm on Windows now. So I was late. I did it quickly and I didn't think about that. And I think it would have been harder to record on Linux. So probably it's best that I'm not. But I wanted to like demo and show where I was. And I'm working on a big data set. Well, I was working. I've put that aside a little bit. But if people are interested or want to join me, if it's interesting or not, if I see that no one gives a damn, I'll probably stop because it's hard. Even himself doesn't understand when he's saying yeah, sure, well, sure, and I don't understand what I'm saying. So you guys are very good at listening to me. um, I'm trying my best. Honestly, it's hard.
Your
I don't.
English is great.
All right, thanks. It's so good. So thank you. The pronunciation is my difficulty, I think. But
I think English people have worse pronunciation than you have a lot of the time. So,
that's so. Thank you. Some vocabulary and some pronunciation.
mm,
So yeah, I'm working on some kind of a data set or database. I've shared it around here a little bit, but it's not very public. It's you can like I have a S3 bucket. I can send you the link. It's not very like searchable online, and I don't know the best way to do it. But it's a big database. Like it is essentially it's a lookup table. It's LUT, but I've added lots of data around it. So instead of just being the state and the win percentage, it's the state and like a human readable version of this state, which was not as easy as it seems to do, and some other things like the well the state exploded. So there's the column of like how many pounds are still left to be played, how many pounds are out. So the score for each player. Um, and other things I can't remember right now, but more stuff to like query that would be interesting to query.
mm.
Uh, and the state itself as like the little ASCII thing, but also as a column. So what's in the A1 spot? What's in the A2 spot? Is there someone? Is there a pound or is there nothing? And then I also worked on a transition table. So going from a state to another state. So this is another data set. So which state goes to which other states? So every state goes to itself because you can roll 0 and then just go there again. And then you can go to other states, but this is like dynamic because you can, as you all know, sometimes not play more than like one move. And sometimes you can play 4 different moves because you have lots of pawns. So this is the transition table. So this is like which state go to which state. And I was like the last thing I was working on, like actively working on, was to be able to query that quickly. So because it's very big, the possibilities are huge. Like from this state or from this set of state, which states are the target states, like in which state can you go to, and doing that efficiently. So this I did it, so it's like an index and it's sorted, so it's easier to find. I did it in this way, so from to, but to from I didn't. So if you want to come from the target state and then go back to the original state, I didn't do that yet. But that would give you a way to do like loops of, if I go to this state and then like and those states, what are the original states of these? Or if you are searching on a target state, like if I land on a rosette, what are the possible states that I can land on this center rosette? Well, you want to like reverse search. So you want to pick the final there's a pawn on this rosette and what led to that, and then you want to filter out all the states where you are already on this rosette and you are actually moved to this. So yeah, you might want to query it and filter it, and it's lots of data, so I want to give people a way to query it quickly. And then someone asked, and it was a very good idea, to have another metadata on the states for their popularity, and to see maybe if some states are like practically impossible to get. Not too quickly so people don't cheat. That's the state of things. Maybe yeah, that's a problem. You're right.
Have we reached that point now?
Well,
Need
Arthur's the
cheating
best player,
detection.
so you're the first one I think about when I think about cheating. So take care.
Yeah, how do we know it's not you, Arthur?
Thank you. Yeah, it's actually a compliment. So yeah, so yeah, I was thinking about that. So having the popularity is a I think is the first actual research subject for today. It's like is there are there some states that are hard to get to, and why? So that might give you an insight on the blunders, let's say. So is it a blunder always to go to a state that is unpopular? So why are you doing this? Why are you straying from the popular path? Let's say
is the popular path also the best path? I
yeah.
guess is an interesting idea.
So it's adding a new dimension to, and popular might be different if you look at pandas versus pandas, and a human versus human, and a low elo or low rank
Yeah.
human versus
Yeah,
high
if you just
rank
have two
human.
random people playing, it might be very different to the like Panda playing itself.
Yeah. So something that would be interesting, and Paddy, I'm just like remembering stuff now, would be that you give us some human played games, because you have the most popular website about her on the internet.
Yeah,
In the
I thought
world, probably.
did I share? I thought I shared a folder,
Yeah,
a text file of them
you're right.
before.
I think so.
They were just all in JSON form. So
Sure. I
it's
need
just like
a monthly dump, you know.
crazy. Yeah, dumb.
a
That would
monthly
be
dump
cool.
somewhere. Well, I'm just joking, but yeah, maybe taking those games and then applying these to a column where there's the human popularity metric on which states were visited. That
You
would be
reached
interesting.
a state that no one has ever reached before. Would
Exactly,
be a
yeah.
cool,
Where are you now?
cool thing.
It's like the achievement.
Where are you now?
It's a very rare achievement because someday all states will be well, we don't know yet, so that's a question. Like there's lots of states, but are there
Mm,
states that are like so improbable, like it's only ones, just rolling ones, and then you could just can't get there unless you're very
yeah.
very unlucky or lucky. So okay, Arthur said in poker there's the
Yeah,
GTO, game theory optimal, and then there's the exploitative way to play regarding opponent weakness. I firmly think it applies to real to or to. Yeah, well, that's what we
it
think too.
definitely does. Yeah. So what the Panda bot is basically the equivalent in Royler to game theory optimal in poker.
Exactly.
And then yeah, there's the whole thing of like what if your opponent, I don't know, refuses to leave the central rosette and you notice that in your game, then maybe you put your pieces in front of the rosette more readily, then you're trying to avoid it because you know that there's a good chance he'll just leave it there, even if the best move would be to capture it. Um, when the Panda bot would never do that. Um, but you could win against them more often, that sort of thing.
So
Um, yeah.
if I summarize, like we have the game theory optimal bot, but we don't have the exploitative bot, the second one. Okay.
Yeah, no, we don't have anything that would exploit. Because I guess the exploitative one would kind of be needing to make a model that what predicts how your opponent is going to play in response to you, and then
Yeah.
kind of using that, which is a lot more complicated than just being
Yeah.
like,
Sure.
here's a strategy that you cannot beat. Like you can't win against the panda more than 50% of the time over like a long enough time horizon. Um, which is kind of
Yeah.
a easier thing to make than than an exploitative one.
And I'm wondering, like,
Mm.
is there a way to, even though you have Panda that must win more than 50% of the time, but this again takes account that probably the other player is Panda too. Is
Mm.
there a better way to win against humans than Panda?
Yeah, probably, but then it's be like you could win against most people more than Panda, but then against Arthur you might lose more than Panda because
Well,
Arthur plays
exactly.
so similarly to Panda.
Like Arthur is my idea of like he's close but not Pandas. So like this gap between him and Pandas could be like exploited, where Pandas probably well maybe can. I like it's where I have difficulty like having an idea about this, but
Well,
can it
we'll get
like
Arthur we'll get Arthur the analysis and then he'll become Panda.
he'll become Panda? Is this Kung Fu Panda the movie?
Yeah, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Two,
Um,
2000
mm.
BC edition.
But it does make an interesting point because I was thinking about like making a rating system for and I was thinking it could be like a interesting idea to include the accuracy in like how much um reward you get at the end of a game. So then like if you play and you win, but you play really badly, then you get less points than if you play and you win, but you played really well. Um, because I think that would kind of mean that it could can kind of your rating would be more representative of kind of the accuracy with which you play. But then the downside of it is then it's like you're just wanting to optimize to play as close to Panda as possible, whereas it might be better to be like exploiting different weaknesses in people, um,
Yeah, well, I'm tempted to
which
like
you'd lose.
steer away. Well, I would be like, it's not my stuff, but I would be tempted to steer away from that and just let the uh, standard elo rating to put people where they are.
Yeah, I guess the thing is with that it's so it's like once you have two people who are so good, then it becomes like what, like 60-40 who's going to win. And at that point, Elo is like really kind of unreliable because it can jump around really quick. Um, so it'd be
Okay.
take a long time for it to settle on like, or it could be you just get unlucky for like a set of games and then your rating becomes a lot lower even though you played well. And so that's why I kind of thought including it, but maybe as a smaller term, was just an interesting idea to think about, and maybe
And what I
experiment with.
found, I remember now, what I found earlier this year was that as pandas is good, their luck was better than a random playing AI. Like they
Oh,
could
you
play
mean
their luck better.
like they put themselves in positions where they
It
could be
seems.
more lucky.
Well,
Yeah,
well, that's a way to interpret that, but I didn't like interpret anything. I just measured luck over lots of games, and they seemed like the histogram would be like centered higher for.
that is
But I
pretty
think
interesting.
the
Yeah,
spread was larger, like the variance was larger, but the center was higher. So that
interesting.
it seemed more lucky. So it depends how you measure the luck, but
Yeah,
it seemed to
yeah. I guess that
I measured
it.
the luck to as a difference between the best move for each row.
Mm.
Um, yep. So it could like engineer its position to take care of the luck.
Yeah, I guess that's another kind of part of the skill of the game is kind of managing that chance. And
Yeah.
so then
So so I remember us
pretty
talking about
interesting.
how they were like unrelated, but I think they're not so as unrelated. They're correlated, but just maybe weakly correlated.
Mm.
We to make
Yeah,
the best out of every single roles. Well,
yeah, yeah.
that's the best we can do.
It's kind
That's
of
the
like
accuracy, right?
like anecdotal, I guess, but like it's like I noticed Panda often will try and like bring more pieces onto the board more than I would instead of like trying to score a piece or something. I kind of always intuitively thought that made sense if it's like, well, now if it rolls a one or two or a three, it has good moves to make.
Yeah,
Whereas
it's
otherwise, I'd be
engineering
relying on
something.
rolling like a two to do well.
Yeah, instead of having a strong two, it has like a very good two, three, four, something like that,
Mm.
or one, three, four. So yeah,
So,
so
yeah,
all the
sacrificing pieces.
possible use. Well, it can sacrifice views probably, but I doubt that is in this game it's very worthwhile. But it's where explaining stuff and gaining insight with words would be very beneficial. And the ultimate test is
Mm.
when you have an explanation that's like written, you use that as the AI, and it should be as good as pandas, something like that,
Or like to some limit, I guess, of reliability.
or not. Maybe not. I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
the ultimate goal. Yeah, you can
Yeah, it feels
specify
like an
it so
impossible
good.
goal.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, there's probably like
But it's like you
a
keep getting closer and
tangential limit.
closer. Mm.
There's a tangential limit where it's going to take so much specifying that it's not human readable anymore.
Yeah. Maybe it's like you need a book to represent to exp or you need like a paper to explain why this move was best, and then you can do
Yeah,
it.
just one move. Just one.
Yeah.
Why is this transition the best transition in this state? Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah. I can see that happening. Like if I come back to my vision of a tree of explanation of what's going on, it's so intricate and long-tailed that and
Mm.
some branches probably are like infinite because they could like loop. You get zeros and then you get ones and it just never resolves. And that's something that's weird because every game seemed to have eventually resolved, and it's not really clear that it should. But
Yeah, but it just sort of did. So you're like, cool.
it just does. Yeah, I don't think you have an infinite going game of in your sight. I, I I don't think you have. But yeah, so
Yeah, I wonder if it's even possible, because it seems like at some point, what, someone's just going to keep rolling zeros while the other person has to advance,
yeah, or
and they're
they're
not getting
eating each
captured.
other forever, something like that.
Well, it's kind of like you can, I guess it's whether you kind of, because I kind of think like eventually someone's going to roll enough zeros in a row that the other person is just going to be forced win
Sure.
if it's random. I didn't realize chess.com only recently got the explanations. That's kind of interesting.
I think Lichess had them a while ago. Lichess.
Oh yeah. Lead chess is cool. I like lead
Yeah,
chess.
I prefer
Or
Lichess
live
to
chess.
chess just because of the open source nature of it.
Yeah, it's nice. It is it's like, I don't know, it feels like a social good project rather than like a commercial entity,
And I think the
which is nice.
guy is French, the guy who wrote the code. Ah, Arthur knows. I know too. I know as
Yeah.
well. So yeah, so how I think my database is one of the one element or one key element to having more insights on about like because I think the analysis tool that you're providing
Mm.
is good for individual games and individual people to get better, but I think as a whole to like derive clear like this is better, this is a better move, like
Mm.
in all cases or more popular cases, let's say maybe
Yeah, I think what also just answer more questions about generally the game is what that database would be helpful for as well. Of
yeah,
just like, is having a piece on the center rosette beneficial? Yes, and here's by how much.
yeah, and
Like
then you
you did
can
with the different
cut it
maps
down.
and all of this
Yeah,
sort of stuff,
you could
which
cut
is
it
really
down. Like,
cool.
is it better early game? And I remember
Mm,
trying to define those
mm.
moments of game, like early, mid, and late game. I think it's clearer in chess because lots of people just wrote books about the thing, just analyzed it, and it's getting there with her. But is there a book written about it yet? I don't know.
I think
Maybe the
Irving Dinko
history
he's
thing.
been writing a book about the game for decades apparently, but
Uh, is
I
it
don't know
about
if
well?
there's any
Yeah,
book that's specifically about the Royal Game of There's definitely books about the place, but
yeah, sure. Well, and or the history, but less or the
mm.
game analysis.
Oh yeah, definitely not the game analysis.
Yeah, we're trying, and it reminds me of the time we had some researchers, like actual researchers, join us from was it MIT?
Yeah, there was a couple people from MIT, and then Yaroon is from NYU, I think.
Okay,
Um, I actually met with him and his sort of like PhD, like his advisor and some of the other people. It was pretty interesting because he was like presenting on the work of like solving the game to them, um, which was interesting because they do like they study decision making, so they use sorts of game AIs to kind of as part of their research, which is interesting. But
Yeah, the best, I think the
that's
best
good.
way would be to have some kind of tree based like tree based decision tree based AI that like resembles the most Panda, but it's easier to like extract some like I'm getting technical here, but it's easier to extract some like human understandable
Mm,
like explanations from that.
yeah. So yeah, my current plan is to try and basically sum up a whole
Mm.
set of features about a move and a game position sort of thing. So things like what is the after before and after this move, how much more likely is a piece to be captured, or uh, just simpler things as well, like is this move moving onto a rosette, or um, like does this increase your chance to capture a piece in the future, and just
Yeah,
kind of from that you can kind of build just a simple set of rules to be like if this move is like the analysis, like the table says that it's going to be like 3% higher chance of winning, then you're like, okay, it's a lot better. So now we can say like, okay, look at the thing. Okay, if you made the move that you're trying to make, your piece becomes like this much more likely to be captured. Whereas, and then also but if you play the other move, then you have two pieces on the board, which is better. And then I don't know, stuff like that. I think is kind of what
yeah,
I've
it's
been working on.
like I'm nerding out here, but it's also how much those are in accordance, like how much the explanation fits the percentage that's shown.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be something that I would try to do is just like also come up with a sort of confidence in the explanation. So like if the chance of a piece being captured goes up by like 1%, then that's pretty unlikely to be the reason that it's better. So
Yeah,
maybe then you're like, okay, not going to use that as a reason.
because I
Um,
remember in my past job, I would have to try lots of like I'm getting nerd now, but I had to try a scikit-learn. I don't know if you know about this. It's a
mm,
library where there are lots of classifiers and regressors that are already there, and I was tasked to like we were using MLP, so multi-layered perceptrons, which is like the
mm.
equivalent of a neural network.
Is that like the simplest neural network sort of?
Yeah, it's fully connected.
One?
There's no problem. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and so we were using that, and we wanted to try other methods that are in scikit-learn. So I used a lot, and we had some criteria, and one of them was to have some kind of um, explanation of the predictions. Um, and one of them was like I think support vector machine SVMs. So I tried those, and they had prediction explanation, so it was fine. It did great. So we used those for a while, and it predicted well. And one day, we saw that the explanation and the prediction didn't fit. Like there's some places sometimes where the top predicted thing was not the same as the prediction. In the well, the top explanation, like in the explanation, the top thing that would come out was not the same as the actual prediction. So I was like,
Right.
what's going on? And I dug in and I saw that the explainer model and the predictor model are two separate models, and you have to do some extra steps to like bring them together
Come
and
to an
agree.
agreement.
Yeah, and they were agreeing most of the time, but the like edge cases where they didn't agree, we weren't very confident in like explaining this to like the 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 person that would like read those, which weren't technical. So we were like, that's no good.
Not
So like,
reliable.
yeah, I just had this like idea of a similar thing where two completely different models that should explain the same thing didn't, and they would like don't they would not agree all the time. So that would be very confusing because you're trying to explain the
Yeah.
first thing with a second, and the second isn't the first. So it's not. So it's
Yeah,
a
the
big
it
endeavor.
seems like it's like a whole new level of complexity because like but you know what the best move is. Now explaining it is a whole different kettle
Is
of
the
fish.
complex. Yeah, it's the complexity.
You know what the like you have a pretty good idea of the correct prediction, but now explaining it is a whole different kettle of fish in
Yeah,
your case, I guess.
and trying
Um,
to derive like insight from. Again, it's the goal of my database and data set. It's since it's based on those numbers, exactly these numbers, and extracting some insight from these numbers, I think would be very good for your analysis tool, because if you extract these from these numbers, you're absolutely sure that the explanation is good.
yeah, well, I guess that's the thing that I kind of rely and kind of planning to rely upon is just like, well, the explanation might not be perfectly accurate, but at least you know the move that it's recommending is the best move, um,
Yeah,
according to Panda.
we'll work
Um,
on
but yeah,
a
basically
insight engine.
the too long didn't read is the explanations will be kind of good for will probably be pretty good for like really obvious moves, but if you have more complex ones, then don't rely on them completely. And maybe they just won't be there for those moves.
Yeah, I think the experience will guide you more than the explanations. It would be good for the
Mm.
maybe the newer player that want to dive more.
Yeah, that's kind of my thinking as well. It's more targeted towards newer players. Um,
Yeah,
well, you
sure.
can
Yeah,
the AI can look later and uh, figure that out is the
yeah.
idea.
It's like that tree of things that influence the percentage. Like it's like having a Sharp value. Do you remember Sharp values of like the predictor explanation?
I
It's just a way to
do recognize it, but I can't. It's
it's a way to quant
my database is not firing. Hmm.
it's a way to quantify in a prediction what like led to this prediction, like what nudged this prediction towards an answer,
Oh, yep. I remember now.
and at
Yeah,
which level they did. So, oh, I'm getting a call. Give me a sec.
no worries. But yeah, so Arthur, basically the idea I think with the chess.com ones as well is the same idea where it's like if you can give good explanations most of the time, then that's still kind of valuable to newer players, but to players who are more experienced, then the best move is
Okay, sure.
um is probably more complicated than the explanation might suggest. Um, and so basically I'll do my best of doing a first pass at it, but then if you find ones that are probably wrong and stuff, then we can just find those cases and work on improving those cases or getting it to not say the wrong thing at least. um, and kind of slowly can build that up to something that's kind of more and more like educational, I guess, is the idea of just like helping people to learn. Because I don't know, I've always just found that like just being told what the best move was never never as helpful as I thought it would be in chess, because I'd make the same mistakes again, because I wouldn't
Yeah,
trigger
you didn't know
the
why.
pattern matching.
And I think in
Yeah.
chess they don't really have a better way either. Like they don't really have the explanations laid in because uh, when I see, I looked at some videos online of chess, well, people playing chess, and they essentially just grind against harder and harder AIs, and they just get an insight with
Mm.
experience of
By
what to do, what not to
osmosis,
do.
brute
Yeah,
force.
yeah. This and having like a mentor that would like guide them
Yeah.
and force them
Yeah.
to play.
Yeah, because I guess that's what this is trying to emulate, I guess, is like a
Exactly.
teacher. It's just kind of a bad teacher or like a
Well,
mediocre
it's
teacher.
yeah, it's a eighty
Hopefully a
twenty
teacher that can
teacher.
slowly get better over time.
Yeah, exactly. It's an 80-20 teacher. Like let's not say it's bad or worse or it's just it will cover like the obvious cases where like you said you could feed an AI and it would just like win some more games than a random playing one and
Yeah.
then slowly getting towards the final.
You Well, you say Arthur said the logical explanations are hard to put into words, and I agree.
Yeah.
And I was just gonna send something which I thought was kind of fun, which is the code for it figuring out
Oh yeah.
how it describes the roles. Oh, it's too long. I need Nitro to send it. It's
You
just,
can share
but
it
it's
with your
just.
screen. Just share your screen.
Oh
We'll
yeah,
have
that's
it
a
in
good
the
idea.
video and so it's gonna be good.
Let's share my screen.
Yeah, I had this Arthur, I had this in my head. Like the little cat that's just calculating stuff. It's
But it's just like if statements on if statements on if
oh nice.
statements. So it's just, I think it's gonna be like just an even more, even longer
Ah,
version of like a similar thing.
damn, okay, but it's kind of readable
It's
though.
just, yeah, I
I
didn't
was
think it was
yeah,
that
it's
bad,
easy. Yeah, it's easy to get. It's what I
but
was thinking
it's
about, like the
just pretty
decision
manual
tree.
to write.
Yeah, right, fair.
Um,
But decision trees are that is exactly what it is, like decision tree
yeah,
based AI.
just a decision tree. Um, and then so it's like just picking up different features of the role and then trying to
Mm.
like manually write different explanations
So you have
of like
essentially
how
like
good or bad it is.
you have like 4 or 5 levels of ifs that you can that well of values or booleans that you yeah okay
Yeah, so it's like
one two
it
three four five.
categorizes moves into like, I mean, it categorizes the roles into like the best role, a role that's like above the expected role by a certain threshold, and then like the implied one here is just like it's as expected, as good as expected, or then it's like below the expected, or it's the worst role, and
Okay,
then
so you're just doing the
basically how
essentially the
likely or not it is, and
combinations of all those binary values and you're
yeah,
describing them all.
yeah, and then kind of just manually coming up with a message for each one.
Nice.
So it would probably be
Yeah.
something similar to that, where it's just like manual work. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think the
Oh,
that you could is the idea is like, is there any position where two moves are both the best move? Yeah, I'm sure Raph, you could probably find this right quick. Maybe you need to boot
wait.
back into Linux.
Yeah. Well, maybe not because this part I did publish. So It will be possible to find two different best move. Like equally good?
Mm.
Mm. For one role? That's well, for one state, one role.
Yeah, I guess what the question is, can you find a position where that's the case? Which would be pretty interesting. I've seen
Okay.
some which are really similar, but I haven't seen any where it's the same yet.
Okay. So yeah, I'll take notes. I have
Yeah.
like a file where I have questions for her that I want to go
Questions
to, and
to answer later.
yeah. So yeah,
Later.
it's the kind of questions that I love because it's essentially why I want to do those meetings, because I want to get those insights, and I cannot
I
log
have
into
to
anything.
head off in a little
Yeah,
bit.
same.
I have a few more minutes maybe.
Yeah, I have maybe like 20, let's say 15 minutes left.
Yeah, I should head off in the next few minutes. We're going to go watch the England Spain final.
Ooh,
I'm gonna try and head out to one of the places where they're showing it.
nice. Okay, so
Should be fun.
very yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's later for you. Yeah, it's later in the evening.
Mm. Oh, Arthur, you're watching it as well. I don't know that much about football, but pick it up. I'll just see how everyone else is reacting and copy them. Be fun. But yeah. Thanks so much for organizing this as well, Raph.
Ah, I love it. I really love it. I just don't have the time always, but yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Oh, we got the Irving react.
Yeah,
It's
that's
funny.
so
I didn't know you
great.
could do that. Nice.
There are yeah, you could add sounds too. You could add soundboards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's dangerous.
That's the pro level
No,
Discord. Quack,
as you
quack.
can see. Yeah, so thanks for coming. I hope we can do this more often. Well, maybe not more often, but yeah, I'll see what I can do with the recording, if it sounds good, if it goes well, and we'll see
Mhm.
Paddy maybe where we upload this.
Mm.
Um, and if someone is good with editing, or if you know someone that's good with editing, wants to help us like do the highlights, of the thing, because it's been like what, almost well, 1 hour and 45 minutes, so it's kind of a long video to watch in one go.
It's like a
I don't
podcast.
Yeah, well, I don't mind it, but some people like to have like just the Paddy's demo of the analysis tool, and
We
chop all
could chop
the,
it up into clips.
yeah, and clips, and skip all the places where I'm rambling around with my data frame data set thing. Uh, you know. So yeah. So well, I think we'll call it today.
Mhm.
It's good to be back in the moves.
Mm.
I'd love to have more people attend in the next ones.
Need to get the ball rolling more so that people will get back
Yeah.
into the groove of it.
And sadly, some people are out of my time zone, so I cannot cover
Yeah.
everyone. So I would need someone else to be like in this Australia, or somewhere like that, and handle this side of things.
Do an Australian podcast when I'm back there at some point.
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah.
Well, you already have lots to manage. So if someone else wants to, it's not very hard. You just like create the
I
event, tell
messed
people,
up
and
messed up the last recording as well, so maybe I'm not the most reliable
Yeah, it's not easy. I
to have
know.
doing it.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
All right.
I'll stop this.
See ya.